Welcome back to my channel. I'm James, and this channel's all about lovers of movies and TV series from worldwide. And as always, this channel is about those great movies and great TV series from all over the world. Today we've got another worldwide review of a big classic restoration of a great World War II film. And I'm a huge World War II movie and TV series buff. I love everything about it. This one, I was really excited when they announced it. So I was excited to get this in to be able to review it for all of you and let you see what this actually looks like. So today we're gonna deep dive into The Guns of Navarone, the greatest high adventure ever filmed, as it states on the front cover. But anyhow, this is a great World War II film. And this is the brand new 4K Ultra HD with a Blu-ray and digital copy of this brand new 4K restoration and scan. Today we're going to go into this and do my exclusive 4K versus the original Blu-ray release image comparisons. And that's something I do exclusively on this channel. I do tons of these, and it takes me tons of hard work and a lot of time to go through and get all the images off the 4Ks versus the old Blu-rays and compare them for you here. And I'll be showing you that in an image comparison here up above in just a little bit. So make sure, if you're not subscribed yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell notification so that way you don't miss out on any of this exclusive content that you're only going to find here on my YouTube channel. And while we're going through the 4K versus Blu-ray image comparisons, I'm going to give you a short movie review, my thoughts on the film, and kind of give you a little bit of history about the film as well as what went into this new restoration and what makes this so different from the previous Blu-ray or even DVD release before that. There was a lot of things even I didn't know about till I got this and actually got to see some of the special features and some of the things they talked about, what went into this restoration. So there's a lot of surprising things about that as well. Then we're going to do an unboxing. I'm going to show you what you get in this set, do a quick unboxing on this. I'm going to run down through the specs, let you know what the audio options, all the big specs that come in this new 4K as well. And then at the end, I'm going to wrap it up as always with my final thoughts and my review score. And that's something I do here on this YouTube channel in every review. And I've done it for years. Every one of my reviews, I give it a review score based on visual quality, audio quality, the upgrade over the previous Blu-rays, if this is something worth upgrading and spending your money on, or if you should keep your other Blu-ray copies. I cover all of that at the end, so make sure to stick around till the end. There's a lot we've got to dive into about this exciting release. Now going into this movie came out in 1961. As you're going to see above in the screenshot comparisons of this 4K versus the previous Blu-ray release, there is some drastic differences between it, and they talk about it in the special features in this as well. For this new 4K release, they went back, and Sony went back to the original Columbia Studios, basically masters that were available. And because the film was originally shot on 35mm film, and basically when they filmed it on 35mm film, they used the CinemaScope process. So what that kind of means to you, when you get to the edges of the screen, because the CinemaScope process kind of basically took the image and kind of bent it out and kind of stretched it out a little bit on the sides, you'll notice that it does still retain that on this. That they can't get rid of. Because it was how it was filmed on the original 35mm films, that is still retained that CinemaScope process, and it's not going to go away. But the interesting thing about this is I didn't know that for this new 4K, they were actually going to go back and do a brand new scan versus what was done on the original Blu-ray release before. The way they explained it is they took that original Blu-ray release scan that they did in up to a 4K resolution, and they went in and basically redid it again to fix some more things and give a brand new, basically once over. And they said they started this at the beginning of 2020, and it took them almost a whole year to go through and redo this from even that. So there was a bunch of things they realized when they released that original Blu-ray release that weren't done correctly. As you probably noticed in that screenshot above of that explosion, that there is a drastic difference in even the lights to darks and the sharpness and detail to the image. Now, they both do retain heavy film grain. That's not going to go away, and there's actually a really cool thing when I go through the unboxing here that I'll show you that they included in this for an explanation that even goes in more in depth in this. But to briefly touch on it, that film grain is natural because of the 35mm film it was filmed on, and it was not stored so well. So when Sony bought basically Columbia Studios back in 1989, they acquired all of those film reels. Sony at that time tried to go back as much as they could and basically preserve, scan, and do as best as they could with each of these films. Their explanation is, though, that this one was heavily mistreated and heavily damaged from Columbia. They just didn't take care of it. So it's taken them, technically they said in here, 10 years of working on this film continually to get it up to this quality. And again, like they said in 2020, they went back and even did more so versus the original Blu-ray release to fix even more things. And according to the statements of what's in this for the special features as well as what's inside this case, they made it clear this is the best this film has ever looked, and it's the best as far as they know they can ever get this to look, simply because the film reels were so damaged and so much work went into this restoration that they can't get any more life out of this other than what you're going to see on here. And in my opinion, it was drastically better looking than the Blu-ray. The Blu-ray looked good compared to the DVDs and what existed before. That Blu-ray was a revelation at the time. This is even another step up. Audio option wise, drastically better. The audio they went back and fixed as well for this restoration. So you get brand new audio mixes, which are brand new audio restorations as well for this. So I think that that really added to the value of what they did for this restoration. And there's a lot of things that I think went into this that really kind of surprised me. A lot of studios just kind of take what they did for the Blu-ray for audio, include that on the 4K, and then work on the image for the 4K a little bit. They didn't do that. They did everything brand new. They went in, took the audio, did a brand new restoration for the audio on this, did a brand new restoration and went back and fixed things for the visual quality with an HDR representation. It is HDR10. And the HDR10 does bring so much more life and depth to that picture and quality to it. The varying shades of color, if done right with HDR10 and things like that, brings drastic life to film. And this one desperately needed it because the original Blu-ray kind of had more of a beige overtone to it. Everything kind of had a beige look to it. And Sony's explanation for that through the special features and inside here talks about that was because the stock was so heavily damaged, the film stock, that it had kind of deteriorated where blacks were kind of blue, or basically skies and skin tones and whites had turned to more of beige because of the deterioration in the film. So for this 4K, what they did above that previous Blu-ray release, they went back and did a brand new color grading. So they really did some amazing work on this to bring out as much life as they could for a damaged film. And it does drastically enhance the film and makes it look drastically better than that previous Blu-ray release. And does drastically make the blacks more depth and more inky to them. They're much more stronger black depth to it. They don't have that blue overtone that even the Blu-ray had in some instances. They've gotten rid of that on this and actually fixed it completely. On top of that, the image has so much more detail and life to it. So even on their faces, though there is heavy film grain, and I'll touch on that here as well, they did not remove the film grain. There are some scenes where the film grain is extremely heavy. And they said that they didn't want to remove that using DNR because it would damage the film even worse. So there are some scenes that you will get some varying quality. Though, throughout the whole film, the image does look really good overall. But when you see those few scenes throughout it where you'll notice that, wow, there really is heavy film grain, that's supposed to be there because they couldn't remove it without damaging the film through their explanation. And I understand that. So you do want that. Don't complain or be worried that, oh, there's a scene where it has film grain. That should be there. If you ever watched the Blu-ray and compared it to this side by side, like what you're seeing above, that film grain does bring out more life to that image when they did the new scan in HDR for the 4K release. So yes, even though some of those scenes do look slightly not as nice as other ones, they're few and far between, and they were basically from damaged reels that they had to go find second or third copies of the film to scan those from because they couldn't from the original one. So that's why there is some throughout it, not too many, but you will notice some, that there's some slight scenes for a few seconds that aren't as high quality as the rest of it. But that's the best it's ever going to look, and with this restoration, man, it was a great job and does look way better than that Blu-ray, as you probably noticed above. With those comparisons, it really is a well done job they did with this. Now, as always, I will have the link for this listed in the description section right below this video. So if after watching my review you decide you want to pick this up and buy this release, I just ask that you please go down to the link right in the description section right below this video. There's an arrow. You click that description section open, it opens up, and I'll have the link listed out there right for Amazon. So that way it takes you straight out there. I've done all the work for you and included that. You click on that, it takes you straight out to Amazon. But that does help support this channel, and I do appreciate it. So make sure if you're going to pick this up, please make sure to go down to that link in the description section right below this video. Now I will touch on this because this is one thing that I noticed as well. There is a few scenes that I've showed you through screenshots above where the image is just slightly softer on the 4K. Not softer than the Blu-ray. It obviously has more depth and sharpness and detail than the Blu-ray did. But overall, throughout the whole film, it just looks softer. Their explanation of that was that the film reels that they had for that, some of those images, and they're very brief, we're talking maybe a second or two that you'll notice it goes soft and then it goes really clear all of a sudden. It's simply because, again, those images were from things that the images had been spliced, and basically they had to splice together an image that was from a third reel that wasn't even a second image copy to put it in, because that's all that existed of that scene, to bring that scene into it. So it's things like that that I find very entertaining and very interesting to find out about, to read about, to listen about, and to watch the special features that really bring to me so much more added value to what they did for this film. And I was really surprised when I watched all of that. And like I've talked about, I don't get to watch all the special features on every release. But for a lot of these old films, especially World War II films, I love watching the special features, especially what's involved with the restorations. And on this, it did have some really good ones. And there's a little surprise inside this box that I really did appreciate as well. Now for this new 2021 4K release, they went back and scanned the original camera negatives, the second negatives, and the third negatives to be able to create basically this brand new 4K digital intermediate that was used to create this 4K Ultra HD release. So that's where I thought it was interesting, because I was not aware that they were going to do a brand new scan of those elements they'd originally scanned to make this as a brand new 4K digital intermediate. They said technology had advanced so much more since when they'd originally released that Blu-ray release that they decided it would be best to go back and take that and scan it again to bring even more life with the new technology out. And that's why this did have so much more to it and so much more work involved in it than I really even knew had gone into this, and made this film so much more valuable to me. This is a native 4K 2160p representation. They didn't upscale, it's a native because of that scan they did. And it does have HDR10 on it and looks good on that HDR10 representation. They kept the original aspect ratio as 2.35 to 1. Didn't mess with it at all, didn't cut it down. And just like I talked about with that CinemaScope process, it does still retain where on the sides, I don't want to call it a fish lens, but it's hard to explain. But basically the film almost bowed with that CinemaScope process, which kind of caused, basically when they flatten it out, it does have at the sides kind of an angle almost feeling to it. And that's just natural to the way that the film was done. And for them to change that, it would have altered the film drastically and would have changed the viewing experience overall. So they didn't alter it, they just scanned it the original way it was, which as a film collector and a cinemaphile, I always appreciate when they talk about that they didn't try to mess with it to take that away, because that's just the way it was filmed and that's the way we want them to leave it, so that it's not messed with, because that was the way it was intended for us to view it originally. From the original director of photography and director, that's how it's supposed to look. Now, as you probably noticed in those screenshots above of this 4K versus the Blu-ray, there's a drastic increase in detail on this 4K, depth to those images and things like what I was talking about, but also just overall, the image loses that like kind of brownish tone it had so heavily in the Blu-ray release, and now on this 4K, it has a more natural image. Now, I'm not going to say it doesn't have at all a beige tone to it. It's slight. It's just slightly beige in some scenes. But overall, compared to that Blu-ray was very heavily almost brownish saturation throughout the film, which I understand it's because it's damaged, but because of the new color grading they did with this and the new basically restoration they did this year, they were able to fix it even more so, where it got rid of so much more of that beige tone that the original Blu-ray had, which that alone was such a big difference when I was watching them side by side on my home TVs that, man, it was a big upgrade that alone was worth it. So that's where I feel like this new restoration that they did for this really did enhance and overall increase the value of what this 4K did and brought to it with this new scan and restoration, that it really felt like, as you probably noticed going through all these screenshots, there is a drastic difference in quality that makes this 4K really stand out as the premier way to watch The Guns of Navarone. Now, I love The Guns of Navarone. I've always loved the film. It's a great World War II action-adventure movie, and it's really well done. And if you've seen a lot of films from like 1961, it's definitely got a more slower pace to it that builds to kind of a crescendo of action at the end. And I always appreciated how they did those, and you really got to enjoy the characters. There was humor throughout it and depth, and there's actually some controversial things in it. For the movie when it came out, it actually has a controversial scene towards the end that really will kind of make you say, wow, for a film that came out in 1961 that kind of surprises you some of the choices they have to make. And I won't ruin it for you if you haven't seen the film yet, because I found out a lot of people just haven't ever seen this great classic. But it is one of those movies that does make you think, and that's where I think for a war film, it was very surprisingly done, because you think, would you have made that choice in that situation? And after you see the film, let me know what your thoughts are about that. You'll know what I'm talking about after you watch the film. But let me know in the comment section below if you've seen the film, if you would have made that same choice, if you would have done a different choice, and what your thoughts are about that, because controversial-wise, that was a big deal in cinema, just showing how hard it was to make choices about people's lives. So let me know in the comment section below if you know what scene I'm talking about, and let me know what your thoughts are about that, because I always love to hear from all of you as well. Now, before we dive into the rest of this, I've got something I'm going to cover real quick with all of you, so make sure you stick around. We've got a lot to dive into about this great release. I get asked a lot how you can help to support this YouTube channel so that I can keep providing you all the special, early, and exclusive videos for you to watch here on my YouTube channel. So there are two ways you can help to support this YouTube channel. Right below each video, there's a super thanks button for you to click. It has a heart symbol on it and looks like this. When you click that super thanks button, all that goes right back into this YouTube channel. And that shows me and everyone how much you appreciate all the time and hard work that I put into all of these special, early, and exclusive videos for you to watch on my YouTube channel. The second way is if you're going to pick up any of these 4K or Blu-ray releases that I talk about, make sure to go down to the description section right below this video. I have made it nice and easy for you and done all the work for you. And I've included the links for each 4K and Blu-ray release, and click through the Amazon links in the description section right below. I appreciate all the love and support all of you have given to me over the years, and I just want to say thanks. Also, make sure to give this video a like, give this video a thumbs up, make sure to click the subscribe button and the bell notification. That way you're one of the first ones to get notified to watch any of these special, early, and exclusive videos that I release here on my YouTube channel. So make sure to subscribe. All right, we've got a lot more to cover and a lot more to dive into, so let's dive right back into this. All right, diving back into this now. Now, for the US release, this does come with a very nice slipcover. I really like the slipcover. Mine came with no damage on it, and I really thought it was well done because I like the original artwork. My understanding is some of the releases in other countries like the UK do not get the slipcover that we got in the US. So for those of you that are wanting to import this, so you get the slipcover with the Blu-ray copy with the new scan, that link that I put in the description section below from Amazon, you can import it directly from that link, and they'll ship it anywhere around the world. But I do love the slipcover. It says the Guns of Navarone on the side here. On the back here, it has it talking about the 4K, and this is something unique it does have. On the 4K, it includes the main title progression reel, which is kind of the introduction, thanking like Grease and basically for the production of the film. That is included on it, so you can choose between which version of the movie you want. If you want the main, basically introduction progression reel to play before the movie or without it. And I like that that was included on the new 4K, and that's been restored as well. Now, on the Blu-ray, which includes the new scan, it does have all the other special features included on this. And I will tell you right off the bat, just like I was talking about importing this, both discs in this set are region-free. So, for those of you that are my international audience that watch from around the world, importing through that link in the description section below gets you this completely region-free set. Both the 4K and the Blu-ray I tested in my region A, my region B, my region C, played in all of them seamlessly, and it didn't matter whether it was the 4K or the Blu-ray, they are both 100% region-free. So if you import this, you don't have to worry about any issues about having to play either disc or getting to all the special features. You can play either disc seamlessly. And I know a lot of the times I get comments saying, oh, well, 4Ks are naturally region-free. They're not. Across the world, there's been about 12 right now, including a couple in the US and a bunch in the UK that have been region locked for the 4K discs. And I've reviewed those over the years and tested them. So just to let you know, for those of you that don't know that and are new to the channel, that is why I exclusively test the 4Ks and the Blu-ray discs, is because across the world, they are region locking some of the 4K discs, and I have no clue why. They're just doing it and they're not supposed to. On this though, it does come with your digital movie code, and this is a Movies Anywhere. So because it's a Movies Anywhere, you can play it on any of those outlets you want, any digital service. So you got your Blu-ray, your 4K, and your digital Movies Anywhere. So for those of you that are not on 4K yet, this is a set that you're going to really want to get while it's in print, because I don't know how long Sony's going to print these. They've been doing a lot of these limited edition, limited runs lately, and they've been printing just little bits every once in a while, and then basically they go out of print after that. Going inside here, you do get the other artwork on it, which I do like that, but I think I like the slipcover better, which I think a lot of people are really going to want that slipcover, which is a nice thing for us collectors, is at least in the US they did come out with that slipcover. So it does have that cover art on it, different side spine where it just says Guns of Navarone in white, and then the back here. Now this is the same cover art that's released around the world, because the slipcover is the only one that has that special cover art on it. Now going inside here is where I said there's something special. You'll get your movie code sitting on top, but when you take your movie code off, you get this little nice little like basically explanation. I really appreciated this. I read it and I enjoyed it. It's very well done with the explanation of why this 4K Ultra HD release is so very unique over the previous Blu-ray release. And this is what I just don't think a lot of people have known about. I didn't until I got this in early for review. After opening it up and reading it, it goes through its front and back, and it's a very detailed explanation going through all of the process of what Sony did from the original Columbia Pictures, basically film reels, for this new 2021 4K restoration. And this was a very enjoyable read, and I loved, I mean, it's not a huge booklet, it's just a one-page thing, but it's a smaller print, so it has enough on it that was a detailed explanation, which is why I thought it was so well done explaining why the original Blu-ray release, what they realized was wrong with it and what needed fixed, and why they did a brand new scan for this new 4K Ultra HD release and this brand new Blu-ray. So with the brand new Blu-ray, you do get the new scan on Blu-ray with this. So those of you that, again, are not on 4K yet, you'll still want to upgrade to this, because this does have the brand new 2021 scan on the Blu-ray, which is their explanation when you go through all the special features. So I did like that added touch. They didn't just throw in an old Blu-ray when they realized it was wrong. No, Sony took the extra work to make sure they put that on the new Blu-ray as well with this new scan. Now, on this release, they did color correct it, and that's what they talked about in that restoration pamphlet, basically, that's in there, which I did appreciate them taking the time to add something a little extra into that. Now, that's in the US release. Now, audio-wise, you do get English, Dolby Atmos, and Dolby True HD 7.1. Those are in English audio mixes. You also get in English DTS HD Master Audio 5.1, and the same audio mix, DTS HD Master Audio 4.0, and it talks about in that restoration, like I kind of mentioned earlier on in the review, that is a brand new restoration for the audio mix. The Dolby Atmos and the Dolby True HD are absolutely outstanding. The beginning of the film, basically when they're walking on the streets, which are basically like brick that has like rocks on top of the bricks, and they're wearing like dress shoes and like boots, and you can hear the clicking and the crunching of like the sand and the basically rocks on those bricks so crisp and clear that, man, did it sound amazing. And going back and looking at the old Blu-ray in comparison and watching it, it sounded okay, but it was not crisp and just sharp. And that audio mix alone made this a worthy upgrade. And I really was surprised how much more they brought out with that brand new restoration for the audio mix. The Dolby Atmos, that Dolby True HD, really, really are outstanding. Now, the English DTS HD Master Audio 5.1, it's not a slouch. It's just those Dolby Atmos and that Dolby True HD really, really, really did sound really outstanding. Now, the 4K disc in here, as I said, it's region free, but Sony didn't cut corners on this. They put it on a BD100, and that's a good thing because the film runs 161 minutes. So it's a very long film. It's well done and an enjoyable ride, but it is a long film. So it needed a BD100, and I'm happy to announce they used a BD100. Now, for the Blu-ray, it gets your standard BD50s. Price-wise, you're looking at $23 for this. Outstanding price. That right there is about the price point I said. Sony and basically what Universal have been releasing things recently for have just been outstanding prices. They've been releasing things for around $19 up to about $22, $23, and that to me is a great price point for a 4K Ultra HD release. I feel like when you get 25 up to like the 30, 40 price range, the only way I'm going to pay that amount and think it's a good value is like those Arrow video releases that come in those limited edition box sets that have so much extra stuff like posters, postcards, the big box, reversible artwork, all of that stuff. Then I think it's worth it. But when you're just getting a Blu-ray and a 4K and basically your slipcover, and there's not too much else that you're getting with it that's extra, I feel like the max is around that $24 to $25 price range, and they're doing a great job. $23 for this, Outstanding price for this release for what you're getting in the restoration they did for this. Now, my review score for this is a 9.0. Phenomenal release. I highly recommend you pick this up and support this release. I think we need to support Sony and what they're doing here with these new restorations that they're going back to these Columbia releases and restoring them, and the amount of work they're doing. And on top of that, the price they're releasing these for is outstanding. And this one is the best this film has ever looked. If you own that Blu-ray, you won't want to watch that Blu-ray again. You'll throw that Blu-ray away or sell it. Doesn't really matter what you do with it, because the restoration on this really did bring so much more life to it. Even though when you're watching it, there is heavy film grain behind it, that is natural to this release and does still add so much more to the picture that even over that Blu-ray, it was a well worth upgrade, a 9.0. You gotta pick this up and watch this because it's never looked better, and according to Sony and what they're saying, there's not anything else they can draw from this. This is the best this film can ever look, they say. And they explain that in that little like pamphlet, saying there's not any more they can draw from this because they've done the restoration so many times on this and fixed as much as they possibly can from the only existing film elements that are out there. And it's great. I highly recommend this release. It's a great war film if you haven't seen it yet. It definitely still holds up extremely well to this day. The acting in it's stellar. Gregory Peck's stellar in it, as well as the supporting cast in it. It's about a bunch of heroes that go and fight and are good guys fighting against evil, and just all around what a wonderful film. Love the film, great classic restoration. It's one, if you're a film fan or a cinephile, you're gonna wanna add this to your collection so you have this in the best possible quality you can, because Sony did an amazing job with this restoration. This was one I was really excited to dive into today, and I really had a fun time doing this. I'm a big World War II fan, history fan. I love the history of films and filmmaking, and I love just everything involved in this. And this is one of those films that has a lot behind it. Great film. Let me know if you've seen it and what your thoughts are. Let me know if you're excited to pick this one up as well, and because of my review, if you're gonna pick this up and add this to your collection. Make sure if you're gonna pick it up though, go down to the description section right below this video, click that box that opens up, and the Amazon link will be right there for you to click on, and it'll take you straight out to buy it. I've made it nice and easy for you. And all of that little bit does help to support this YouTube channel. At no cost to you, when you click that link, there's no difference in the price. It does help to just support the channel a little bit. It helps me to keep providing you all these early and exclusive reviews, because a lot of these 4K versus Blu-ray image comparisons do take me a lot of time and extra work to go through and create all this content and get it all together to show you the difference here on my YouTube channel. So as always, if you enjoyed my content, make sure to give this video a like for me. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell notification. We're on track for the end of the year to hit 4,000 subscribers. I really want to hit that here by January 1st, so make sure if you haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe so we can hit our 4,000 subscribers by the end of this year. I appreciate all your love and support. I hope all of you have a blessed day, and there's always a lot more exciting new content coming out very soon.